I call the Maplewood City Council meeting to order on Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands one nation
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call to ascertain quorum?
Yes, Councilmember Crossley.
Here.
Councilmember Falkingham.
Here.
Mayor Knapper.
Here.
Councilmember Page.
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Councilmember Wood.
Here.
Madam Mayor, a quorum is present.
Thank you. There is no need to have a motion to excuse a council person. Item number 5, Attorney Graves.
Thank you, Mayor. I would respectfully request that the minute of today's meeting reflect that pursuant to section 610.015 of the Missouri Sunshine Law, the council members present today virtually can participate and vote in the meeting because there is an emergency which continues to exist as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Attorney Graves. Madam Clerk, item number 6.
Approval of the council agenda.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the council agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to move that we table item number 16, and that is the ordinance creating the Human Services Commission. And the reason for that is we have an upcoming work session discussing boards and commissions, in which we will be aligning the language of all of our boards and commissions. And I feel like rather than going through the approval process now and then reevaluating it in 2 weeks, that we should table it for the meeting immediately following that work session.
There is a motion to amend the agenda.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion?
So I guess I want to clarify, is that meeting on that date? Are we going to talk about that stuff too? We didn't get an agenda for it yet, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, from my understanding, we are going to talk about it, but it's in a work session, and so it is just a discussion. No decision can be made where it would go into effect. And so I guess I would like to keep this on the agenda so we can create this commission. And then if we need to go back, I have no problem going back if council wants to go back and make changes. But we need this commission. And respectfully, we've talked about this. There are opportunities to discuss this. I don't know what else to say besides, like, we have people in our community that would benefit from this commission, and I would like to be able to see it created so we can get people appointed to it so they can get to work. That commission is focusing on housing. That commission is focusing on food insecurity. That commission is focusing on transportation. That commission is focusing on, being able to get work. Like, that commission does a lot. And I just think for us to not go forward with this and to put it on a work session meeting is not necessary.
If I can clarify, the motion to table is not to put the ordinance itself on a work session agenda. It's to table it for the council meeting that immediately follows that work session, because the language of the members and terms, section 2-401, will potentially change based on the results of that work session. And I think that all of this language was crafted prior to our last several meetings where we've had conversations around appointments of board and commission members and terms in which we have already discussed aligning that language amongst all of our boards and commissions. So it is not to put the particular ordinance on the work session, it's to table it to the next council meeting, which is the first meeting in October, which is the 12th.
Respect,
Remember,
go ahead, forgive me.
no, that's okay. I'm sorry. I was just going to ask. So you're basically saying you want to table it because there's an efficiency to be gained
Correct.
because we wouldn't have to rewrite the language. And Mayor, I'm hearing you're saying like this, it's important enough, like we need to get it going now. And if we need to adjust the language later, we can do so, which would, I'm comfortable with that.
Just to clarify as well, because I'm doing a little bit of catch up myself. This is first and second round approval tonight is the current schedule, and then final approval the next meeting. I am not clear on what the process is for amending language for an ordinance that is currently on the agenda. So if we grant first and second round approval tonight and then want to amend the language in advance of the third and final reading as a result of the work session discussion, what does that look like? If that's an option for us.
You can do that, right, Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cost us time.
No,
If we change the language after a first and second reading, if we change the language, it doesn't cost us another meeting,
No.
right?
it does not.
Then I would say, I mean, I'm say we,
I'm double checking.
Because I think the piecemeal approach, this that we've taken over decades of establishing commissions has obviously led us to confusion about who does what and when. So I think that we need to align that, and I think that's the purpose of that work session discussion. But if we have an opportunity to amend the legislation before the third and final reading, that might be a way to meet both efforts of Councilmember Phillips and the mayor.
and my perspective is, the language thing is sort of an efficiency and a convenience for us. The commission is something that's supporting the community, and if we can get the ball rolling, why delay?
I agree.
So there's a motion and a second on the table to amend the agenda, so
I
I
have-
assume
I
we
have-
vote.
I
I think Attorney Graves was still checking though, right?
Yeah, yes,
I'm looking. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
it's fine. And Councilmember Phillips, I understand, I have it, and I'll make sure to ask if there's any additional discussion before we move on.
That, here.
Ms. Graves, I know we can because we're
Yeah.
doing it with our tax
Yeah.
tax rate. So we've already read it twice and we're going to be amending the language on the
Yeah.
third reading. So
There
we,
you go.
we can do that. That's not a problem.
All right, Attorney Graves, you agree?
Yes.
All right, then we have a motion to amend the agenda and a second. All those in favor of amending the agenda to table item 16, please. Actually, you know what, Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Crossley,
No,
Councilmember Fockingham,
No,
Mayor Knapper,
No.
Councilmember Page,
No.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes,
Councilmember Schmidt,
No,
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
All right, the motion does not carry. So now, may I have a motion to approve the council agenda?
motion to approve the council agenda.
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Madam Clerk, the motion carries. Madam Clerk, item number 7.
A public forum.
At this time, the community and attendees are invited to provide any comment they would like. Please use the raise your hand function and we will call upon your.
Hey, Mayor Knapper, I am showing a hand raised.
Thank you.
Mr. Priya, is it?
Yes,
Do I have that correct? Do I have that pronounced correctly?
yes, Mr. Reese, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Joshua Crea, 3339 Cambridge Avenue. I just wanted to thank Mayor Knapper and Mr. Reese for including John Bowman from the NAACP in the last city council meeting. I thought having Mr. Bowman there really reminded us residents of many of the challenges that we continue to face as a municipality, particularly when it comes to issues and matters of race. As I was listening to Mr. Bowman, I was also reminded, as we talked about a little bit, or was talked about in the council meeting last time, about the town hall conversation some of us residents had with the mayor and Mr. Reese and the council members, and what it means to be a citizen. So I was thinking about that so much of the substance in the meaning of citizenship is negotiated in the local settings and in local spaces. And the last council meeting that we had was such a setting and it was such a space. And so that any discussion of race, and specifically here I'm thinking about the assault of a teenager, right, by a white adult male in Maplewood, should receive a response from the city council members. If they were to have done so, right, you all would have affirmed your commitment to rejecting racial discrimination and violence in our own community. You would have also upheld a model of citizenship that's emblematic of equity and justice, things that we continue to need here in Maplewood. By examining our own biases, and particularly within a municipal council that's made up predominantly of white individuals, and in a city, in a town that's made up mostly of white residents, we work toward those attributes worthy of public service. Things like transparency and accountability, and again, justice. And as Mayor Knapper pointed out, in which Mr. Bowman did second himself, her experience with racial micro and macroaggressions are very real. We know that they happen today in Maplewood, and we know that they've been happening in Maplewood for a very long time. With the election of Mayor Knapper, there have been documented instances of racial animus, both on the council and among residents. And so I'm asking you members to take every opportunity that you can to clearly see these aggressions for what they are, to acknowledge them, and to work towards some sort of change. To that end, I have to say again, it was disappointing that the council members didn't engage really at all with Mr. Bowman during the meeting. There's a lot that we can learn from him. I don't know if any of you know, but he was named the Citizen of the Year by the Upsilon Omega chapter of Omega Phi Psi fraternity in 2020. So who better than to learn about the nuances, right, and the complexities of what it means to be a citizen than someone like Mr. Bowman? And what better way to learn about the challenges that we face, or that do face leaders of color within our community in the greater St. Louis area? And especially how else to attend to our own mayor's clear desire to acknowledge what she faces as an elected Black official here in Maplewood. So again, I would ask the members to once more take every opportunity, as with the appearance of Mr. Bowman, to clearly see what's happening in our community and to acknowledge it and to work towards some sort of change. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mayor Knapper, there are no more hands up.
All right. Madam Clerk, item number 8.
Announcement.
I have a couple. Schlafly's Art Outside will be held at Battleworks on Friday, October 1st through Sunday, the 3rd, October 3rd. There will be music, beer, and lots of art on hand. And also a reminder about the regional night out that will be October 5th, 6th, and 7th from 5:30 to 7:15. Each evening, Maplewood Police Department has teamed up with Boardwalk Waffles and Ice Cream and Deer Creek Concessions for some tasty treats. The times and locations are on the city website and also on the city's Facebook page. They may be found other places, but that's where I found them. So
Any additional announcements? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk, item number 9.
Approval of the September 14th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes and closed session minutes.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the September 14th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes and closed session minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item number 10.
Proclamation for Home Away from Home Child Care Center in honor of their 25th anniversary.
It is my pleasure to read the following proclamation to Home Away from Home Child Care Center on their 25th anniversary. Whereas Home Away from Home Child Care Center opened its doors in Maplewood in 1996 after owners Wolfgang and Ann Bowis saw a need for quality childcare in the Maplewood area, and whereas Home Away from Home Child Care Center believed it was important for parents to be able to leave their children in a small home-like environment with qualified employees who truly love children, and whereas Home Away from Home Child Care Center has fostered a homey environment where parents are encouraged to hang around and read a story or play with their child for a bit. And whereas Home Away from Home Child Care Center has cared for more than 300 children. And whereas the nutritious meals prepared daily to include breakfast, lunch, and snack has earned Home Away from Home Child Care Center the Eat Smart certification. And whereas in Maplewood, we are proud to support our business community and celebrate in its successes. Now, therefore, I, Nikylin Knapper, Mayor of the City of Maplewood, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, September 28th, 2021 as Home Away from Home Child Care Center Day in the City of Maplewood, Missouri. Congratulations.
Here, here.
Mayor
All
Knapper,
right.
we do have Home Away from Home representative. I'm going to allow her to speak here really quick.
Thank you.
Yes, is it pronounced Miss Bauhus? Do I have that correctly?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you did pronounce it clearly. Thank you so much for that recognition. It has been a pleasure to serve the community of Maplewood. Some of my families, I think, are logged on tonight, and we appreciate all the support, as well as some of our staff, I believe, have joined us this evening. It has been such an honor, and it's been a great 25 years and hopefully lots more years to come. 2 years ago, I want to share a little story with everybody. My family and I went to a small restaurant out in Cuba, Missouri, and the young waitress that helped us that evening, we got to talking, and she shared with us that she grew up in South St. Louis and in Maplewood. And she went on to tell me that she attended a small little great daycare center in Maplewood. And I said, oh yeah, what was the name of it? And she said, Home Away from Home. And I said, honey, what's your name? And she told me her name, and I looked at her and I said, I'm Miss Ann. And she goes, oh my gosh, let me go get my mom. She's in the kitchen. And her mom came out of the kitchen and looked at me and grabbed me and gave me the biggest hug. And we couldn't believe that we ran into each other out in Cuba, Missouri. And at that point, I thought, here is a kid 16 years later is talking about the daycare that she went to. And I thought, here is a child that I touched her life so much that 16 years later, she remembers it. And that's why I got into the field. So thank you for this recognition.
Thank you. Thank you for touching the lives of children and their families. Thank you for sharing that story with us. It's beautiful. And I think it just goes to show the positive impact that you have had and how that's spread throughout the region. It hasn't stayed in Maplewood, it's spreaded. So thank you for sharing that joy with us and creating that joy with Home Away from Home Child Care Center.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the proclamation?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 11.
Great Rivers Greenway presentation, Shaughnessy Daniels and Angelica Gutierrez. Okay. Give me just a moment here. Okay. Okay, Ms. Gutierrez, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everybody.
I understand Ms. Daniels is not able to join us, is that right?
That is correct. It'll be just me. Okay, well, thanks everybody for making room in your agenda for Great Rivers Greenway. I'm going to, if I could, share my screen. Try here really quick. Okay. So can you all see my presentation here? Okay. All right, well, let me turn off my video because my internet may slow down just for a little bit. So good evening again. I'm Angelica Gutierrez. I am the Senior Project Manager at Great Rivers Greenway, and I have worked on this project, my beloved Deer Creek Greenway in Maplewood, for the last 4.5 years. So we have, just a reminder for some of the new council members, I don't think they have seen or they know a lot about our organization, but I am going to just go over the general information of Great Rivers Greenway. GRG is the agency that plans, designs, and builds the network of greenways that are connecting our region. GRG is a regional government agency created by citizen vote in the year of 2000 and funded by sales tax. And GRG supports the 3-county region, including San Luis City, San Luis County, and San Charles County. So residents of the region invested in a bold vision to create a 600-mile network of 45 greenways that connect communities and 2 million citizens that live within the 1,200 square miles of the region. This system of greenways connect people to the rivers, parks, and communities. So on this map, we're tracking the vision of, ourselves, our partners. We have 16 greenways right now, well on our way with lots of users. We use greenways to connect to other public land, and we return 94 cents on every dollar to the taxpayers in the form of greenways, land, and projects. So what is a greenway? Most of you know, but in general, greenways are outdoor spaces connecting people and places. So we can be defined in different ways. Essentially, greenways are paved trails that connect communities and people. Greenways are often described as linear parks. Greenways are places where people can take a walk, ride a bike, push a stroller, and use a wheelchair. There are also places where people can gather, relax, explore, and enjoy nature. People also use greenways to get to work or to school, to connect to transit or destinations within their community. So greenways are really multi-use facilities that are unique to each user. Oops, sorry. Okay, so what can a greenway do? So it's a thorough analysis on what these greenways do, specifically connecting people to the rivers, parks, and communities. They do encourage active lifestyles, making a vibrant place to live, making San Luis a vibrant place to live, work, and play. And we're building connections to a vibrant future. So we're leaving the legacy for our kids and grandkids here to for years to come. All right, so about the project. Most of you know and have been part of our process for the last 4.5 years, which is what I have been involved in. But this is the Deer Creek Greenway, about 1.25 mile extension of the Deer Creek Greenway. This one currently from the Deer Creek Shopping Center to Francis Slade Park in the city of San Luis. So this new segment will connect our network. You can kind of see here to the Gravois Greenway, through the River de Pear Greenway, and then in the future to this small segment here onto Webster Groves. And in the future, the city of Brentwood is already working on their extension here north of us. So it's going to be over 20 miles of connectivity. That will be a pretty good asset and invaluable asset for this community. Okay, so this is, again, most of you have seen this map. This is the alignment that was decided a while back on what we would do as specific streets to be used in your right-of-way, in City of Maplewood's right-of-way and City of San Luis. So just a reminder, the Greenway, this specific project, I'll mention this segment here in a little bit on the west side of the screen, but on the left side of the screen. But the Greenway is proposed to run on the south side of Oxford Boulevard, on the east side of Sussex Avenue, and then on the north side of Greenwood Boulevard, crossing towards the east on the south side of Canterbury Avenue, connecting to the River de Pear Greenway and Francis Slade Park on this opposite corner. As I mentioned, on the left-hand side of the screen, the Deer Creek existing connection here in yellow orange is now tied to a parcel that Great Rivers Greenway acquired last year on, where the formerly McDonald's restaurant was. Where we are planning with the city of Webster Groves open green space to, of course, create a connection of the Greenway throughout the parcel and create opportunities for habitat restoration and green improvements on this land. And then we will, of course, connect to the Oxford side of the Greenway. Okay, so just a summary of all of the work that we have done regarding early design engagement and community engagement. We did in 2017 and 18 an alignment study after hearing from the city that let's explore again the creek alignment versus the street alignment. So we had a good group of residents, business owners participating in this effort, and that was completed in 2018. After that, we moved on to the intersection safety study, which was another request by the city, which was very valid, to look into safety at 3 specific intersections. One was Big Bend and Oxford, the second one was Sutton and Greenwood, and the third one was Greenwood and Canterbury. So we had this group of citizen advocate leaders. We had meetings with them. We met with businesses and some residents, and we at the specific locations of the intersections to come up with the best and recommendations for safety improvements. And then after that, in 2020, 2021, when we started doing the conceptual design, is when we look into more specifically targeted outreach to all of the residents, property owners, business owners, directly adjacent to the Greenway. So we wanted to talk to every single person that will be affected by the conceptual alignment that we had developed so far. We talked to most of the property owners. Some others were very difficult to get a hold of. We tried several times, but we can say that we talked to most of the property owners. We heard what they had to say. We show them the video that you are about to see. It's a 4.5-minute video where we represent the completion of the conceptual design or the 30% design. That's where we are right now. So let me move the screen. I hope to be able to share sound. Please let me know if you can hear the sound of this video.
Hi, my name is Sarah Van Hooser, and I am one of the designers on the Deer
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Creek Greenway connection. This is a collaborative effort with Great Rivers Greenway, the City of Maplewood, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County. This new connection has 6 goals. The goals are to connect Deer Creek Greenway to River de Pere Greenway, connect 3 local municipalities, provide community alternatives and connections to transit, link residents and communities to retail, business, and employment centers, and minimize disturbances during construction. Provide opportunities for recreation, improve safety throughout the Greenway corridor, and identify and seek funding opportunities. This area is heavily used today by bikers and pedestrians alike to connect to greenways, Deer Creek Park, Sleigh Park, local neighborhoods, Lansdowne Metrolink Station, and local businesses. This video will bring to life the preliminary design of the Greenway to help you visualize the proposed Greenway layout in a 3D environment. We will start our tour at the Deer Creek connection at Big Bend. At the corner shown here, a park is being planned through a partnership with the City of Webster Groves and Great Rivers Greenway. Intersection improvements at Big Bend include wider crosswalks, a new traffic signal, ADA ramps, and push buttons. As we continue from Big Bend to Oxford, you will see a 10-foot trail on the south side. Green pavement markings are proposed at commercial entrances for enhanced safety for trail users. Hi, my name is Sarah.
All right. That was that. So what you saw is the result of the 30% design, the conceptual design, preliminary design, has different names. That information provides us with a foundation for continuing on intermediate design or 70% design and then final design. So this is where we are right now. Moving forward, this is the next slides will show you what the next steps are for the project. So we wanted to share those with you because we know, we haven't given you an update for a while now. So wanted to just update you on this. You have seen this timeline before, I believe, where we show when we started, which is a while back, and where we are right now, which is in this box here, 2020, 2023. When we are tasked to complete the design of the Greenway with your, coordination with the City of Maplewood, City of San Luis, and Webster Groves. And then, because one of our goals is to find funding opportunities, so our opportunity would be federal funds, federal transportation funds. Those become available in 2025, 2026. So that is why there is a little gap here between these two, because that's when the funding becomes available for that federal transportation grant, which we plan to apply in the next round, of course, with your blessing, because we need to, work as partners, and because this is your land. Typically, as you know, the cities or whoever owns the right-of-way needs to provide a letter of support to whoever is writing the grant. So all of this is with your approval. Okay, then I'll move on to funding and to the results of the cost and funding that was produced from the conceptual design. I keep saying conceptual design because, numbers, figures, specific details can change during the design. So these are the numbers that were provided to us by the engineer, very high numbers, as you can see. So our strategy for the funding sources has been kind of shown here in this graph. So you can see it. The main founder, of course, will be Great Rivers Greenway to do the design and construction of the Greenway, which includes utility relocations, easements, construction management services, and materials testing. This is the whole value of it. As I said, we plan to apply for federal funds to get us as much money as we can to be able to fund the project. We also have the City of Maplewood, which you of course, you may remember that the Greenwood reconstruction was submitted by your city in the last round. So that's in your books, which we are grateful for. So that's what is shown here as street cost, the second line of the total up in the center of the screen. We know that project includes those ADA compliant sidewalks on the south side of Greenwood, a challenging project, but not impossible. So we're planned to go hand in hand with the city there on implementation years. So that grant is to be implemented the same year that we will be applying for these funds for the Greenway. So the idea is to cause the least amount of disruption to their businesses along Greenwood for these two projects, which is really one project. And that's how we want to handle it. Just one time interruption, get it all done, very, very well designed and good and to benefit both the businesses and residents and the community in general. Additionally, we know the city had allocated some funding for those 4 quad gates at the Sutton Greenwood intersection to keep that quiet zone designation. So I know that's part of the schedule and coming up in the next years. And finally, we have the City of San Luis contributing a little bit of funding for the traffic signal replacement at the intersection of Ellendale and Canterbury. And San Luis County is also contributing a little bit of funding for the signal on the other end on Big Bend and Oxford. So as you can see, this is a partnership. This is a big effort that we are willing to continue moving forward for your community. And we just, giving you an update now so you get the big picture of it. And then lastly, the operations and maintenance, as you know, and you may remember that the way that we operate is that Great Rivers Greenway provides the build environment. We pay for all of the design and improvements to your community, and then we hand off the maintenance responsibility to the partners. So these here listed are 3 agreements that we will need for this project, one with the City of St. Louis, one for the City of Maplewood, and one for the City of Webster Groves for the construction, operations, and maintenance, which is a typical agreement. You have seen the one from the previous Deer Creek Greenway you have in your town. So it's something that we need to work on in advance. That's a lesson learned we have from other projects where we waited for until the end, but then now we're trying to act proactively and get it done before. And that is all I have. This is our last slide with contact information. Just for your information, I'm working with Grace Wright. I think she's attending in the audience right now. She's another senior project manager with Great Rivers Greenway. She's teaming up with me on the management of this project. And then Shaughnessy Daniels and Caitlin Service, they are civic engagement managers. Caitlin will be helping us a little bit more on the future next steps, because we will, of course, continue communicating with the businesses and the residents and all impacted by the project. So that is something we take very seriously, and we will continue communicating. So anything that you need from us, we are welcome to receive requests for information, or if you have suggestions, recommendations, any questions, please feel free to contact us. And I open it up for questions. Mayor, if you, I don't know if you wanted to add something or ask something, and I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gutierrez, for the presentation and taking time to be with us this evening, excuse me, to chat with us. I do have one question, and that question is from a community member. The community member asked if you all would be having another community group. Again, you had one in 2018, and so this community member was curious to know if that would be happening again. So if you would give us any information on that, I would be grateful.
Yeah. So specifically, we haven't drafted the group that will be needed for any future engagement, but we will definitely reach out to the direct impacted by the project. So it depends on the phase of the project that we are in. Right now, we will be entering into so next year we will start the intermediate and final design. So we will be asking questions about amenities and things that the people would like to see along the Greenway. But that's about it, because we already decided the alignment. We already, we said, we heard from what you had to say about safety. So safety was very important for the community. So that was already incorporated into our conceptual. So specific group per se, no, but we will continue communicating with the property owners along the Greenway.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks great. Thanks for that presentation.
No problem, Sean.
Yeah, I like conceptually the design. I know it's taken a long time to get here, so it looks good. It really does look nice. So, and I'm glad you got that piece of property from Webster too, because I know that was a concern early on. So
wow,
that'll be a huge help, especially with the crosswalk across Big Bend there. So.
Exactly. So we have a lot of homework to do. We have communications with St. Louis County to do. We have City of St. Louis partnership as well to develop. We have talked about it, but we now need to put it in writing. So, but yeah, I think we are gaining momentum. Well, we have since last year because we had that design started, but we have a lot of work to do, especially on the the intermediate and final design. I see a comment coming in.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and read that.
Yeah.
The comment is, now that GRG has reached a 30% design completion, they should be able to establish lane widths and the path width along Greenwood. Can Angelica comment on planned drive lane, parking lane and the Greenway lane width along the various sections of Greenwood Boulevard? And that question is from Mr. Jugo. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, he's correct. Now that we enter into the intermediate and final design, then we will be able to talk about the parking lane width, the travel lane width, and all in partnership with the city of Maplewood, because the project that is now, it's tentatively to be funded by East West Gateway. That Greenwood project has that scope as well, right? So you will be reconstructing the road with the Greenway in mind. So we will be working very closely with the city of Maplewood to determine all of the geometry of the street. All of the, geometric design, to be exact, will be put into that set of plans that the city will submit to MoDOT through East West Gateway for that funding. So that's to come. That's going to be something that we will be talking about in the next phase.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's actually a rather technical word that was used during the presentation, and I'm hoping you can identify what it was. They mentioned channelizers along Greenwood. Can you explain what that is?
So they have different heights, 18 inches or 24 inches tall. Those skinny, long and skinny with reflective tape on top. You have seen those in like delineating, I think they put those somewhere so you can see a separation between sidewalk and street. They have used it for several things. There are orange, yellow, white, different colors. So we have used for other projects. I don't know if you have seen them. Delmar and 170 in University City. We use those short ones, white ones, for snow plowers to be able to see where the curb is. So they stick up and they kind of set a visual cue for separation between the sidewalk and the Greenway. So those so far are proposed now. Those are not final. Again, we could change that device that will divide the Greenway from the street with something less vertical. But we want to be sure that the pedestrians are protected. So there are other devices out there. There is one that looks like an armadillo, that it's like a long and skinny, but then you can put it on top of the curb and provides, resistance to cars that would want to go over the Greenway. So that's not set in stone, but that's what we have seen it implemented. We did it in one project and we like, because it's visually assisted to help with the reflectivity at night as well. So that's what it was.
Thank you for that clarification.
No problem. Any other questions? Well, hearing none, what I would say is thank you again for your time. We will be in touch with your leadership to get us moving on the funding piece, because we continue to fund the design and that's part of our commitment, but the construction, the expensive one, is one we need help with. So we'll get in touch with you on finding the partnership for the funding, which is next year. I believe they typically are the round for grant applications is due February of 2022 in this case. So before that, like maybe December, we can touch base again and talk about this.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez.
Okay, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Madam Clerk, item number 12.
Parks and Recreation Commission report by Lainey Schenkelberg.
Welcome, Ms. Schenkelberg.
Hi, thank you very much. When you get promoted to panelist, I guess it kicks you out and makes you come back in. So sorry about that delay. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to present a presentation on an update from the Maplewood Parks and Recreation Commission. So I'm going to share out my screen here. There we go. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So first, I just want to introduce the members of our commission. So there's myself, Lainey Schenkelberg. We have Julie Francois as the vice chair. Beth Newman is the secretary. We have Megan Doherty, Becky Flynn, Bob Harsh, and Sarah Walker. And we also have 2 vacancies on the board and currently. The responsibilities of the Parks and Recreation Board are pretty robust. So I've tried to kind of summarize them here so everybody can see what we're responsible for. We're an advisory board that advises the city on developing and maintaining a park or systems of parks, designation of lands, acquiring lands, managing parks, improving, constructing, regulating parks, also ordinances necessary for the regulation of parks, and also for the planting, care, maintenance, and removal of trees. There are also several responsibilities within the tree ordinance. I'm not going to quite get down into the weeds on that so much during this presentation, but if anybody has any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. I'm going to go on ahead and talk a little bit about some of our longer range priorities that we're working on. The number 1 priority right now is establishing an equity-based system-wide master plan. This plan will allow us to have a long-range plan for all of our parks and recreation facilities, as well as any potential new parks or recreation facilities for all of Maplewood. It will also ensure that we're establishing vision goals around that plan that are rooted in equity. We are going to approach this project with looking at our entire community and how parks can help support health, well-being, inclusivity, and accessibility beyond ADA. We are reviewing 2 proposals from consulting firms now. We have a meeting with them on Thursday. I wrote down the wrong date there. I think I was thinking about the date I was presenting this presentation, but we have a meeting with those firms on Thursday, and we anticipate having a recommendation on which firm we would like to go with at the end of those presentations from those firms. Both of the firms the city has worked with in the past. This plan is going to include an internal assessment of all of our current lands, all of our facilities, as well as a community needs assessment. It will also include a plan for funding for all capital improvements and a financial strategy that includes a maintenance plan. I'm going to pause there because there's a lot in that system-wide equity-based master plan, and just want to pause real quick and see if anybody has any questions about that. Okay.
I do. Forgive me.
Yes.
I was slow to get to unmute. The internal assessment, can you describe what that looks like, or at least what that looks like to the board right now?
Sure. So basically, when doing the internal assessment, it's going to lay the foundation for the vision and the mission of the plan. So we have a mission statement for the Parks Department at a city level. What we don't have is we don't have any vision goals that are established at the board level. And I think that's really important to us so that we can understand where we want to go in the future. Our vision goals, we are looking at including things like equity and inclusivity and accessibility to impact things like health, economic development, and ensuring that everyone within our community can consider our parks and recreation facilities a safe space. So that internal assessment is not only going to assess, all of the land that the city owns, but it's also going to make sure that we are all on the same page with those vision goals. And it ensures that we have the voice of the community, elected officials, and then the city included in the development of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Another long-range priority that we are actively working on is increased community engagement. we have a public forum during our monthly Park and Recreation Commission meetings where the public can attend and they can make public comments just as they would during a city council meeting. We also will on occasion receive proactive feedback from community members that come in through the city or may come directly to a commission member. What we are trying to make a shift on is the board being more proactive in going out and talking to community members and actively engaging with people who are using our parks. So we have a routine visit to every one of our parks per each board member. So like I may be assigned to Central Park. So I will make sure I go and check on Central Park before each board meeting, and each member is assigned to a particular park. In the past, a member would go to those parks and would inspect the equipment, inspect the spaces, and report back on any repairs that needed to be made. We're shifting a little bit on that. We're not just going out and taking a look around at equipment, but we're talking to the people at the park who are using that equipment, who are using those spaces, asking them what they use that park for, what could be improved, and what they like about that park. And that's enabling us to discover problems that need to be fixed, discovering areas where we want to maintain what they're currently being used for, different green spaces and such. And it's allowing us just to get to know the people who are using our parks in ways that we hadn't anticipated. We also are looking into doing some canvassing into neighborhoods that are nearby parks or areas that are being considered for parks, such as the Yale Green Space. We have a plan to have a table at the Yale Green Space movie night so that we can talk to people who attend that movie night and ask them what they may want to use that space for or how they use other parks in Maplewood. We are also engaging with community for park cleanup days and then ongoing partnerships with community organizations for service projects as well. So I wanted to spotlight that a little bit. A couple of our parks recently, we had noticed needed a little bit of attention. And our public works department is very busy. The maintenance workers do a fantastic job, but we really need to devote a little bit of extra attention to a couple of parks and weeding them. So one of the Parks Board members, Becky Flynn, had the idea of doing a community cleanup day. So in partnership with Public Works, put out the word that we were going to do a community cleanup day, and we had groups of community members go to 2 different parks, clean up those parks. We also engaged with the Sustainability Commission to talk to them about if we should be keeping an eye out for any invasive species so that we could also clean that up as well. We had many Parks Board members that attended this cleanup. You'll see a photo of them here. We also had community members from Maplewood, as well as our new superintendent that attended to help clean up as well. So we hope to continue to do those sort of community cleanups and engaging with additional community groups that would like to help out with service projects. So a few active projects and updates. One, the Ryan Hummert dugouts. We had been approached with a proposal from MRH Youth Sports to help fund new dugouts for Ryan Hummert Park. And they did a great job putting together that proposal. They were willing to come to the city with some matching funds to take care of those dugouts. The total project cost was going to be around $50,000, which was more than we had budgeted for and they had budgeted for, but they were looking into some creative solutions for that. We had those conversations with them and at the end of it decided that this is really something that is more appropriate for us to go out and include in the master plan and to fund via grants or other funding mechanisms, aside from the funds that MRH Youth Sports had generously offered to us. We recommended that maybe those may be better used to go towards something that was a little bit more oriented to their mission and can focus on the athletes and their families that they're going to serve. So MRH Youth Sports has reallocated those funds for Middle School Instructional League, which I think is fantastic to better serve that age group. And we have rolled in that need to our master plan so that we can fund it and using some different mechanisms. They are aware that we'll push out that equipment by probably a year, and everybody is aware of that and realizes that just kind of comes with the project. The splash pad, you'll see a photo of it here. So it is working. The contractor is wrapping up, and the next step is to obtain the operator's license. These were the updates that I had as of last week. So if anything new has happened in the last week, then I don't have that on here. Tennis courts, we had windscreens installed, and the remaining tasks are fencing and surface touch-ups. We are also working on grant discovery and a full schedule. That's also something the master plan is going to help out with, but we need to, as a board, have a rolling schedule where we can understand when grant applications open. If it's something that's an annual grant, we need to understand at what date we need to start making decisions on if we are going to do discovery and planning for that grant. And so this is something that we need to have an ongoing annual schedule for, so that we are aware and we are not leaving any money on the table that we could use to improve our parks. So I know that was a lot. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, real quick. If you have groups that are interested in the cleanups, should they just contact you?
Absolutely, they can contact me. My email is Lainey, LAINESTL@gmail.com. They can also contact the city through Tiffany or Anthony.
Thanks.
Great.
Berg, do you happen to have a timeline for when the master plan can be completed?
I don't have that yet, but that is a good question that we can ask the two firms that we're considering when we meet with them on Thursday, what their timeline would be for start to completion of the plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good question. All right. Well, thank you very much. If anybody thinks of anything else, I just gave my email out, so feel free to contact me or anybody else on the Park and Recreation Commission. We are really excited about the possibilities of what we can do for Maplewood, and we have a great group of people, both old and new, that are excited about what the master plan is going to serve the community for.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And thank you to the Park and Rec Board for all the work that you all do. We appreciate it. Madam Clerk, item number 13.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, authorizing the creation of rules for City Council and work session agendas.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Councilmember Crossley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fockingham,
Yes.
Mayor Knapper,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
Resolution 21-42 is approved.
Thank you. Item number 14, Madam Clerk.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, to authorize the city manager to sign and execute the 2021 Municipal Waste Reduction Grant Contract with St. Louis County's Department of Public Health, and to accept the grant funds for an electronics recycling event.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just quickly, I'm going to abstain from this vote since I'm employed by the Department of Public Health.
Yeah, I have a question. Mr. Reese, do we have a date, a projected date that we're going to do this on?
You know, I believe it's going to be,
Springtime?
yeah, it's gonna definitely be in the springtime. I'm trying to remember if they said March or April. But let me ask the department that, and Councilmember Fockingham, I'll let all of council know.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Councilmember Fockingham,
Yes.
Mayor Knapper,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossley.
Abstain.
Resolution 21-43 is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 15.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri to accept the proposal of Spencer Contracting in the amount of $215,968.79 for additional asphalt street reconstruction work with a contingency of 5% or $10,798.44 for a total of $226,767.23.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just had a question. I didn't know, Mr. Reese, do you know what the fund balance is for that account?
Yes, it's a little in excess of 1.7 million.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Mayor Knapper,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fockingham.
Yes.
Resolution 21-44 is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 16.
Bill 6171, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 7, Boards, Commissions, to create a Human Services Commission.
That was the first reading. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in, I'm sorry, did someone clear their throat or did they want to speak? Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, then hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Madam Clerk, second reading.
Bill 6171, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 7, Boards, Commissions, to create a Human Services Commission.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, both motions carry. The third and final reading will take place at the next council meeting. Madam Clerk, item number 17.
Bill 6172, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, amending Chapter 38, Personnel, Article 9, Hours of Work, Leaves of Absence, and Other Benefits, Section 38-259, to establish a policy for leave for victims of sexual or domestic violence.
That was the first reading. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I appreciate this. Thank you. Hearing no additional discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Madam Clerk, second reading.
Bill 6172, an ordinance of the City Council, the City of Maplewood, Missouri, amending Chapter 38, Personnel, Article 9, Hours of Work, Leaves of Absence, and Other Benefits, Section 38-259, to establish a policy for leave for victims of sexual or domestic violence.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Both motions carry. The third and final reading will take place at the next council meeting. Madam Clerk, item number 18.
Bill 6169, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri, establishing the tax rates for the City of Maplewood and the Maplewood Special Business District on all real, personal, tangible, and intangible property within the City of Maplewood, Missouri for 2021.
That was the final reading. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fockingham,
Yes.
Mayor Knapper.
Yes.
Ordinance number 5964 is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 19.
Bill 6170, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maplewood, Missouri to rezone 3732 Cambridge Avenue from AB Arterial Business District to LR Limited Residential District.
That was the final reading. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fockingham,
Yes.
Mayor Knapper,
Yes.
Councilmember Page.
Yes.
Ordinance number 5965 is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 20.
Is old business.
Mr. Reese, do we have any old business to discuss?
You're not on my end, Mayor.
All right. Item number 21, Madam Clerk.
Council communication.
Yeah, I've got something if no one else wants to go first. Councilmember Schmidt and I were approached by a couple volunteers who I think are with legal services, and one of them volunteers with the SLU Law School, but they're involved with looking at different housing policy and in particular focusing on illegal lockouts, and presented with us an idea or an opportunity to do some policy here in Maplewood to prevent illegal lockouts, from happening here. And apologies if I'm explaining something that you already know, but I learned a lot in this meeting. And so there have been some instances where landlords, instead of securing a warrant to evict someone, will instead just change the locks, locking the renter out from their medication, their pets, their belongings. In some instances, these individuals shared with us, landlords will just take the entire door down. And so the state law currently setting the process for securing a warrant isn't entirely clear on what rights a tenant has in that instance. And so they worked with the city of St. Louis in 2017 to establish a mechanism by which a tenant can call law enforcement, who can then help, confirm that there's no warrant and get that individual back into their home. So at the very least that they can secure their belongings. I think, in light of the county's existing eviction moratorium, which is set to expire on October 3rd, concerns about, waves of evictions going on, and just the fact that renters are a population that are easily taken advantage of. I think this is a good idea for this body to take up. I think it's worth pursuing. And I wanted to take the pulse on this group to see what they were thinking.
So I just wanted to add too from the discussion, just a little more detail, like for me that, so currently if this happens to you, it's illegal. I mean, it's illegal for a landlord to do that because there is a state law that sets out the process they have to go through. And so, but what happens is your only remedy is to like file a lawsuit against them, which if you're like me, you don't take everything from your house every time you leave it. And so if they lock you out, I mean, think about what could be in your apartment. I mean, your bank stuff could be there, everything. And so the problem is that's not a real remedy to have to go to court and file a lawsuit, or, you know, sometimes when they call the police will be like, well, that's a civil issue. So this is just giving people who are victims like a real time remedy to get back access to their own property that they've been illegally blacked out of. And so it also allows the police a mechanism for when they show up to say, hey, landlord, you know, you're going to get a ticket. Like you need to come, you know, open the door and all of that. So I agree with Councilmember Crossley. I think this is something, I'm sure that's happened in Maplewood and will continue to happen in Maplewood, and would be just a really great protection considering how many renters we have, to allow them that protection. So.
Yeah, I'd definitely be willing to pursue that. If we have the legal authority to do it, that would be
I was going
great.
to ask, what specifically, what are we attempting to do?
So I don't have a specific section of the code identified, but I'm thinking we can find one. That's something that I think I'd ask Attorney Graves to look into. And then that way we create some sort of ordinance that says if this happens, a renter has, you know, the ability. And also I think part of this, and this is where the city ran into like a little bit of a hiccup, is then educating the police force on enforcing it and implementing it. So that's something that, were we to do this and were we to pass it, that's something I would, you know, ask our city manager and acting police chief to take care of, which I think they handled very neatly for the decriminalizing marijuana ordinance we did earlier this year.
I also think, so one thing, Councilmember Page, the city of St. Louis's ordinance, which I think is a good one, is ordinance number 70624. I'll say it again, 70624. And if you just Google it, it'll come up. And I think it's a pretty clearly written one and explains, you know, it has all the definitions and stuff. And then I just also thought this would, you know, our so much in the community that, and they are helping out people in the community. And this just gives them another tool, you know, to help those in our community when something happens to them. So I think it would be a great thing for them too.
I'm very supportive of this. Thank you all for bringing this to us to discuss and, you know, get started on creating an ordinance for our community members that would be helpful and protective of them.
I can take a look at that St. Louis ordinance that you referenced and then work with the city attorney on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks all. That was all I had, but thank you.
Any additional communication from council? All right, hearing none. Item number 22 is the mayor's report. I'd like to let you all know that on October 9th at 2 p.m. from 2 to 2:45, I will have a yoga event. I am partnering with Urban Breath, Complete Harmony Yoga for Youth, and also Oxygen Yoga for Youth. And those are all yoga studios that are located in Maplewood. Excuse me, and this event is for Move with the Mayor. And so it is open to anyone age 5 and above. We will have like 2 classes going on simultaneously, one for children, one for adults, and it will be held at the Maplewood Richmond Heights soccer field at the high school. So we have a lot of partnerships going on. I'm very excited about it. And if you all are available, I hope that you would join us. You just need to bring water, a yoga mat or a towel, and then we are going to work on some mindfulness activities and a physical activity as well. So join us. And also Urban Breath is so generous. They are going to award someone with 30 days of yoga for free if you come out and join us. So again, Saturday, October 9th, 2:45 p.m. And there will be advertisements on social media and via email about that as well. So I wanted to let you all know that is coming. I also wanted to spotlight a MRH high school student. His name is Noah Garland, I believe. Let me double check. Mr. Garland is I think he's a phenomenal person. Now, mind you, I just met him once, but I say this because he's a high school student that wants to give back to people in our community. And so he's doing that by conducting a skate school, and any level of skateboarding that you have is welcome. He is going to conduct a skate school in the month of October, each Saturday, and there'll be more information about that. But I just appreciate him reaching out and talking with me, telling me what he wanted to do. He's also going to reach out to the Park and Rec Board. He's going to talk to Ms. Schenkelberg and see what needs to be done. So he is, following all the rules for the skate park when he does this class for community members. So be on the lookout for that. I'm pretty excited about that. And then the last thing that I wanted to discuss or just report on was we had another person, give their resignation for the Special Business District Tax Advisory Board. This person is an African-American woman, and I just want to direct my colleagues' attention to that because this woman was the second woman of color to get to a point where she did not feel comfortable serving on a board. And I ask that my colleagues please, I'm not sure if you all discussed this already, but take into consideration when we are talking about an equity audit, that equity audit also includes our boards and commissions, because I think it's concerning that we've had now 2 women of color that have declined to serve because of some type of discomfort that they may have felt, or inability to get information that they needed regarding onboarding. So that is all, and it concludes my report. Madam Clerk, item number 23.
City Attorney's report.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Graves. Item number 24, Madam Clerk.
City Manager's report.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 25, Madam Clerk.
A public forum.
At this time, the public is welcome to provide any comment. Please raise your hand using the raise hand function.
Okay, Mayor Knapper, I am showing Ms. Killian. I guess I promoted you to panelist. It was not the option to talk. We cannot hear you.
Get it there. Is it okay now?
I think we can hear you.
Okay, I had a question about with the Parks Commission as to what it was approximate cost of those surveys being done. The 2 companies that they were deciding on.
Oh, I don't have the answer to that. I'd be happy to follow up with you on it though.
I'd like to find out what the approximate, because I know it wouldn't be a definite cost. And then one thing when it talked about citizenship, what I thought might be interesting for both the community and for the school district would be if they held a, the citizenship ceremony, when people become citizens, if they held it, say in the auditorium, had some students come and the public available. When they had this done, if we could have some of those new citizens speak as to why they wanted to become citizens, as to what they did to become citizens, where they were from, and what they were doing. It would give an overall view or an interesting view, a different direction when it comes to citizenship, especially new citizens within our community. It would give, I feel it would give information to, our community as to what it really means to be a citizen.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Killian.
Could you provide me with your phone number, please?
My phone number is 314-497-6258.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Reese, do we have any additional public comment?
We do not, Mayor Knapper.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, item number 26.
Motion to hold a closed session.
May I have a motion?
Motion to hold a closed session to discuss matters relating to documents related to a negotiated contract under section 610.021, section 12 of the revised statutes of Missouri.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossley,
Yes.
Councilmember Fockingham,
Yes.
Mayor Knapper,
Yes.
Councilmember Page,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
We will now go into closed session and we will not return. All right, thank you all for joining us this evening.
Thank you.